Hello everyone. My topic is an ecocritical analysis of nature in contemporary cinema, a study of Bhediya and Sherni. This is a table of contents. Uh, Chapter 1 Introduction. Ecocriticism, a literary and cultural theory that explores the relationship between human, nature, and storytelling. It examines how literature and cinema shape and critique ecological concerns, advocating a shift from anthropocentrism to ecocentrism and promoting ethical, sustainable human-nature relationship. Key theories in ecocriticism: deep ecology. In a deep ecology, we can see that given importance to both nature and human at the same time. Like in the anthropocentrism idea, we can see that it challenges the idea that human are superior and the nature is inferior. The deep ecology theory challenges anthropocentrism idea. Ecofeminism, in which we can see a link environmental and gender operation. The ecofeminism, we can see the woman and nature treated as the same, like they both are quite inferior. And the post-humanism, the challenge is the idea that human are more important than nature. And the post-humanism follow that idea that the nature and the human both are equal and not in the between. There are differences that human is superior and nature is inferior. Eco-Marxism, which critiques capitalism's role in environmental degradation. Eco-criticism in Indian cinema. Traditionally, Indian films use nature as a picturesque backdrop rather than an active force. In the traditional way, we can see that in the older movies, we can see which shows nature as inferior and quiet, and it give more importance to the human than nature. Modern film like Bhediya and Sherni challenges this by making nature as a central character in the narrative. And this film critique deforestation, human-wildlife conflict, and government failures in conversation. Introduction to the films. Bhediya, a supernatural allegory and on deforestation and human nature conflict. In a Bhediya movie, we can see that the transformation of Bhaskar, who is a protagonist of the film, which uh, critique the idea that nature also fights back, and the Bhaskar's transformation shows us to that nature and human, they both are equal. And in a Sherni, a realistic portrayal of conversation struggle and bureaucratic inefficiency. Common themes: urbanization and deforestation. In the both movie, we can see that in the Bhediya movie, we can see Bhaskar, who is a officer and who wants to build buildings and companies and factories in the forest area, and he tries to convince that indigenous people that to sell their lands. And he is like giving a dream to that people that we will give you modernization, and your we will bring your land modern and all that. In the Sherni movie, we can also see that because of the politics and the hunters, they are convincing people to sell their lands, and they are also mining the lands. Human wildlife conflict. Tigress as a victim of encroachment. In the movie Sherni, we can see that the Sherni, who is a tigress, and he just not having his own place in his own forest because of that conflicts of politics and the hunters. Ecofeminism and gender. Women as the environmental protectors. And non-human agency, nature realistic in Bhediya, wildlife resistant in Sherni. Cinema as an environmental advocacy. Film shape ecological consciousness and a shift from passive nature to nature as a active role. In the both movie, we can see that it gives importance to nature, and the nature play as an active role. Hypothesis: the ecocritical crisis depicted in Bhediya and Sherni serve as a microcosm of global environment challenges, presenting nature as an active agent and reshaping the audience understanding of the human environmental relationship. These are the research questions. These are the objectives. And chapter 2, literature review. The title of the eco-criticism reader, and the key argument is defines eco-criticism as the study of nature in literature. The future of environmental criticism, and its key argument is literature shapes ecological consciousness and ethics. Ecologies of the moving image, its key argument is film influence public perception of ecological issues. American androgra- ethnographic film and eco-cinema and show slow cinema forest deep environmental engagement. Cinema and the Indian environment. And its key argument is Indian films transition from nature as a backdrop to activism. The great derangement, climate and fiction. And its key argument is film explore climate change and environmental crisis. Staying alive, woman ecology and survival, and its key argument is links environmental destruction to patriarchal oppression. Feminism and mystery of nature challenges human dominance over nature and gendered roles. Capitalism in the web of life, capitalism drives to ecological crisis and resource exploitation. Marx ecology, materialism and nature examine capitalism's role in environmental degradation. Slow violence and the environmentalism of the poor, and its key argument is environmental harm disproportionately affects marginalized communities. And simians, cyborgs, and women, and its argument is call for recognizing nature as an active role in culture. Research gap. Ecocritical narratives in Indian cinema have gained prominence, yet research on films like Bhediya and Sherni remains insufficient. These films critique capitalist exploitation, human-wildlife conflict, and bureaucratic failures, but studies rarely explore their use of folklore, ecofeminism, and posthumanism to challenge anthropocentric ideologies. The power struggle between state authorities and local communities in conversation is also overlooked. Sherni critiques bureaucratic influence efficiency, while Bhediya portrays nature as a retaliation against exploitation. This study fills this gap through eco-critical analysis, examining the impact on environmental discourse in Indian cinema. Chapter 3, Eco-critical analysis of Bhediya. Nature as an active role. The film challenges anthropocentric views by portraying nature as a powerful entity rather than a passive backdrop. Bhaskar's transformation into a werewolf serve as a metaphor for ecological retribution, highlighting the consequences of environmental destruction. Deforestation and corporate greed. The storyline critiques capitalist driven deforestation, where economic expansion comes at a cost of ecological destruction. Human intervention in nature leads to unintended consequences, reinforcing the idea that nature will retail against exploitation. The film highlights the clash between modernization and nature, where urbanization threatens fragile ecosystems. Indigenous knowledge and environmental resistance. The film highlights the wisdom of indigenous community who coexist with nature in a sustainable way. A traditional belief that contrasts with corporate greed, emphasizing the need to respect ecological balance. A human animal, hybridity, and posthumanism. Bhaskar's transformation blur the boundaries between human and non human nature, challenging human superiority. The film suggests that nature is not a resource to be exploited, but a force that demands respect and balance. The film uses myth and folklore to depict nature as a powerful, uncontrollable force that humans fear, yet they exploit it. A visual representation of conflict. In this image, we can see that there is a standing man who is a protagonist of the movie, Bhaskar, and who is and in the front of him there is a people who own their land in the forest area, and the Bhaskar who is trying to convince the people that sell their land and give it to them so he can build a mall and factories and the other new things so that it can be a modernization. The folklore and ecological consciousness. In that, this scene, ritualistic imagery and mythology to depict nature's power, with the wolf-shaped fire symbolizing nature's retaliation against human exploitation. and it aligns with indigenous belief system where supernatural entities act as the protectors of the environment, reinforcing the film's critique of anthropocentrism. Chapter 4, Ecocritical Analysis of Sherni, Human-Wildlife Conflict. In the movie, Sherni critiques deforestation and habitat destruction, exposing how policies favor industrial expansion over ecological balance. In the movie, we can see that the human and the wildlife conflict, the Sherni tigress who come in the living area of a human being, and because she has uh, the human beings who exploited and deforest the area of a forest, that's why she came into the living area of human being. Ecofeminism and gender conversation. Vidya Vincent, who is a protagonist of the movie, resistance patriarchal structures, advocating of ethical conversation over exploitation. Bureaucratic failure and the capitalist exploitation. In the movie, we can see that bureaucratic, because of political and government officers, because of their own benefit, they are want to kill the tiger, uh, and they are just convincing people that the killing the tiger is the best option rather than saving her. And indigenous resistance, the film highlights a local ecological knowledge often dismissed by state authorities. This movie frame, livelihood versus conversation. Villagers depend on forest for grazing but face restriction due to the tigress. In this frame, we can see that the Vidya Vincent, who is a forest officer, and who is telling the indigenous people for that you cannot come into this area because there is a tiger who, and the a tiger as a symbol of, like, a tiger is a man eater, so you cannot come in this area, and his own land. And authority versus local knowledge, like forest officer enforce policies ignoring villagers deep rooted coexistence with nature. Like, if you are coming in the forest and if the tigress will eat you, we cannot do anything. So you cannot come in this restricted area. uh, Excavating conflict, development versus deep ecology. A deep ecology perspective critiques human-centered development and promotes the instruction value of nature. In this, we can see a mining of the forest. In this, there is a this constructor area in the middle of the forest. So there, so it directly affect the animals in the forest which lives, so he cannot properly live in the forest, and they are just going far away from the forest area. Human wildlife conflict, mining forces animals to migrate, and it also leads to migrate animals, increasing clash between humans and wildlife. Traditional ecological knowledge versus industrial expansion. Indigenous and ecological perspective, advocates of coexistence while bureaucrat policies prioritize economic gain. This scene, a government's proposal, eliminate the tiger. In this, we can see a government who is sitting in the chair. We can see that they are trying to convince the people that the killing the tiger is the best option because of their own benefit. And the man who is sitting with a gun, who is a hunter and who just want to build their record that I how this many animals I have killed. That's why he just want to try the kill the tiger. And struggle for agency highlights the clash between conservation, livelihoods, and state power. Conclusion. Ecocritical significance, a Bhediya supernatural allegory, and Sherni realistic approach. Critic anthropocentric worldviews. Both films highlight ecological crisis, human wildlife conflict, and the urgency of sustainable coexistence. Contribution to eco-criticism in Indian cinema, a shift from portraying nature as a backdrop of to an active ecological force. Bhediya, deep ecology, indigenous perspective, and myth-based storytelling. Sherni, ecofeminist themes, systematic critique, and bureaucratic obstacles. Border implications. Cinema as a powerful tool for environmental advocacy and awareness highlights gender, politics, and corporate exploitation in conversation discourse. Limitations and future research need for audience reception studies and exploration of more films and expanding intersectional analysis like caste, class, and environmental justice. This is my sources. Thank you. Now, if you have any question, you can ask me.
So, Trupti, my question is, how do these films critique the role of blur accuracy and politics in environmental decision making?
The both films, Bhediya and Sherni, critique the bureaucracy and politics. In a Bhediya movie, we can see that the man Bhaskar who just want to grab that opportunity, but we can not say the opportunity, but the indigenous people who just not aware about it, and they just want to buy their lands, and because of the development, but the development should be a sustainable development, but he is just trying to convince the people that sell their lands and we will give you malls and we will give you facilities for a better living. And also in the Sherni movie we can see that they are politics and government officers who just for their own benefits they want to try the kill the tiger. Because of that they can show that what we do for them and we save you from the tiger and all, but the main problem is that they are deforesting the forest and just mining the land.
Yes, Trupti, in what ways do these films challenges a traditional anthropocentric perspective in the storytelling?
In the other films, the Bhediya and Sherni shows the uh, in the Bhediya we can see a Bhaskar's transformation, which uh, gave a modern way to that nature can also fight back, like the Bhediya, as we can see the Bhediya who is just trying to save their land and show that nature can also fight back. And in the Sherni movie we can also see the media in the movie, the media play as a man eater tiger, but the tiger is obviously if you are not if you are coming in their land and harm them, so obviously they can attack you and they just try to defend themselves. That's why we can see that in the movie, in the both movie Bhediya and Sherni, it shows a nature as an active role.